Nina.
Charlie, how can I help?
I've started my investigation.
It sounds like we've got the right man for the job. I remember when you were so nervous, but now look at you.
It's been a long time. People change.
Even so, my mental image of you is sitting at a DNA sequencer. Perhaps a restaurant would let you use theirs.
Why would a restaurant need a sequencer?
It helps with their rather niche menu.
Don't you think we should move out? Cell aren't going to ignore a blast like that.
For a harmless little kitchen fire, they won't come.
Kitchen fire? What do you...
They won't send anyone. It's all under control here. We've enough wheels greased at Cell to make sure there's an understanding. Oh, lighten up, Charlie. This is helping you. You can go on a mole hunt at Cell once your children are safe.
Can you think of anyone who'd want to do this? Why recruit a suicide bomber? For this?
Frankly, the main reason I can think of to hire someone for a job like this, hypothetically speaking, of course, would be if one were unable to carry it out oneself.
Can you think of a likely saboteur?
I have my suspicions, but we depend on you for the truth.
I guess I should thank you for not giving them the full picture.
What? That you might have been the one who made that poor young man? Think nothing of it, Charlie. That's what friends are there for. I hear you handled another one last night.
They're getting more and more frequent.
They're nearing their expiry date, literally. I know they weren't engineered for long lives, just volatility. Their masters have to make use of them before illness.
That's all.
Keep me informed, Charlie.
Mr. Ron.
What do you want?
I've started my investigation.
You find who tried to kill me.
Who tried to kill all of us, Mr. Ron?
This city dangerous. Police do a lousy job.
Can you recall anything suspicious?
No. Stop asking stupid questions.
I'll get back to you.
Stop wasting my time.
Mr. Stepford, can I have a moment?
Oh my, yes.
I've started my investigation of the bombing.
Oh my, yes? I can assure you I had no part in this terrible tragedy.
I hear that a lot.
In fact, my core programming prevents me from harming a human being.
Huh, a synthetic. I guess you'd be the only one leaving lubricant oil instead of DNA evidence.
Oh my, no, Dr. Regis. My outer dermis is organic tissue. It's top of the line, patterned from my creator, Dr. Arthur Stepford.
Huh. I've been learning a lot about synths these past few days. So, you have DNA?
Indeed, it's delightful skin, don't you think?
Sure.
I go to great pains to keep it moisturized.
Could the guards have arranged the bombing? They're obviously synthetics, but I imagine they're more comfortable with hurting people.
They would not be worth much as protection otherwise, oh my no. But each security platform maintains a constant connection to my own systems. Their degree of independence is limited.
So if one of them were responsible, I'd have to consider you complicit.
Oh my, yes.
Were you aware that this establishment serves human meat?
Oh my, yes. It's delightfully macabre, isn't it? I'm sure the experience would be enhanced by being able to eat, of course.
You don't eat?
Some models can simulate digestion, but this platform is unable to. Go on, Dr. Regis. Try something for me.
I'll pass. I'll get back to you.
Oh my, yes.
Dr. Regis, how can I help?
I've begun my investigation into the bombing.
If anyone can resolve this, it's you, Dr. Regis.
Thank you for the vote of confidence, Counselor. I don't know how much closer I am to figuring out who's behind it, though.
Because of the pool of suspects, it might be better to think about exclusion. Perhaps you can find evidence to rule out those not involved.
I'll get back to you, Counselor.
Anything I can do to help, Dr. Regis?
There's the remains of a first aid kit in here. Someone's used all of the med patches and pseudoderm spray. Must have had an injury. The only item left is a bottle of harsh-smelling toilet cleaner. Apparently, this mirror is having a software error. Before I came to Newton, that sentence wouldn't have made any sense to me. It's already been opened. I can't see a damn thing in here. It feels like the cover to the outside vent, but I can't see a thing. Ow! Whatever it is, it's got sharp edges. Excuse me.
Yes?
I'm Dr. Regis. Nina's asked me to investigate the explosion.
A cell agent? Well, all right. Just be careful what you touch. This place is half kitchen, half lab.
There are human bodies in your kitchen.
Yes, there are. It's a freezer. What are you, the food inspector?
Give me a good reason I shouldn't haul your ass down to cell.
It's all legal, I guarantee. They're annual clones, grown without brain tissue.
I know what it means. I guess the presentation was a shock. Why is this restaurant serving cloned human tissue?
I trained in engineering at Darwin. We'd flash grow human bodies to test DNA alterations. So I guess human tissue is what I'm most familiar with.
You're a engineer.
Well, I dropped out before my PhD. I learned enough to sample DNA and use it to grow flash clones.
No kidding. My background's in engineering as well. You altered these bodies?
None of these. They're all template. Caucasian, male, 20s, brown hair.
This is quite the setup you've got. Combined sampler growth chamber?
That's right. We usually use the template. Sometimes get specialist orders, though.
Like if someone wants to eat themselves?
Sometimes. We can ready up a new cadaver in about a week with it.
I can't access cell at the moment. I might need to use your equipment.
Do you have to? You know you'd have to flush the current growth.
Sorry about that. Tell you what, Nina will reimburse you.
Well, okay.
Going from engineering to catering, that's quite a switch.
Most of my family are cooks. They run a restaurant in Vietnam. When I was at med school, someone found out about my family, dared me to make something out of human muscle tissue.
And
it turned out my human bolognese was really, really good. Not just being immodest or anything.
You said you dropped out. Is that why?
Yeah. Turns out the academy had regulations about improper disposal of remains. But now I had an idea, and I knew there'd be a market for it somewhere. My family are great chefs, and I can make human bodies. Bingo.
A suicide bomber attacked the gathering upstairs. He was disguised as one of your waiters.
Whoa. I wondered what that was. What did he look like?
Blonde, about 1.65 meters, might have looked uncomfortable or limping.
Huh. Biobomber?
That's right. How did you guess?
You mentioned the limp. They've got pretty serious health problems, don't they?
Yeah, he might have replaced one of your staff.
Huh. They all checked in.
If he incapacitated one of your staff, can you think of where they'd do that?
It'd have to be somewhere you could hide a body, I guess.
You get a lot of clandestine meetings like this taking place?
You'd be surprised. This place is popular with the wealthy. Haven't had an assassination before, though.
You know what they're discussing up there?
They don't tell me, and I don't ask about anything but their orders. Dr. Zhang pays me enough to know I probably shouldn't.
What's with the bouncer?
He came with Mr. Stepford's party along with a few others. I think he was supposed to be guarding the kitchen, but...
What happened?
Well, he wasn't very talkative, but after I started working, he just kind of zoned out. Couldn't get an answer out of him.
I like the glowing fish in the tank you've got.
Thanks. I made those myself. They were my first engineering project.
Luciferin luciferase from fireflies?
Well spotted. I imported the sequence into red snappers and kept them viable. 10 generations now.
A lot of academies use those as a starter project, but that's impressive.
We keep them as a reminder of where we came from, or in case the power goes out.
The sequencer's a different model to my usual.
Cell's probably got something more impressive than that thing. You have to purge the current project before you can do anything. Then you can submit genetic material to start a new growth project.
What kind of material will it take?
Blood, dermal tissue, almost anything. Makes it easier to get a sample from customers.
What's your advice for cooking human meat?
Planning on going into competition with me? Well, you know how they say everything tastes like chicken? It's actually better if you treat human tissue like pork.
Like pork?
Yeah. Sausages, slices, filet. There's a lot you can do with it.
It's restaurants like this that make me glad everyone in this city just uses auto meals these days.
Oh, come on, it's not that bad. It's not harming anyone after all.
Something about it still doesn't feel right.
You probably don't feel nearly so angry talking to me as those auto mill personalities, right?
You have a point. Thanks.
Whatever I can do to help.
Hey, stop the carousel.
What's wrong?
These bodies are supposed to be clones, right? So why is this one blonde?
Oh, God. Henry. What happened to him?
He's taken a nasty blow to the head. Looks like it's the hypothermia that's finished him, though.
Oh, hell. Why'd they leave him in the freezer?
Best place to hide a tree is a forest. Best place to hide a body is with a whole lot of other bodies.
Why Henry? He was such a nice boy.
Same hair color as the bomber. Whoever's behind this took his uniform for the bomber's disguise.
Somebody would have seen him being dragged across the restaurant.
He must have been killed in here. I'll find who's behind this. Oh, here goes. Gotcha. The bomber's bag. A crumpled note found in the bomber's possessions, apparently from whoever hired him. It says, "What do you make of this, Mr. Ron?
What it say?
You can't read English?
English second language. I got secretary for that.
You don't say." Mr. Stepford, can I have a moment?
Oh my, yes.
I found one of your heavies in the kitchen. Looks like something's knocked it out cold.
Oh my, a technical fault, no doubt. May I ask you to show me the defective platform?
Sure, I guess.
Excellent. We can't have our firm slandered by accusations of low-quality units. Dr. Regis, Oh my.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I know what's going on. The cavity magnetron in the growth array. It generates a huge mag flux in here.
It broke them? Is it permanent?
What do I look like, a tech?
Excuse me.
Yes.
I found one of your buddies in the kitchen. He doesn't look well.
Please report technical issues to management.
Who's in charge?
Situational command has been assigned to Mr. Liam Stepford.
Huh. Fancy taking orders from a guy like that. Did you see the bomber when he came in?
Negative. His appearance was a match for a member of the serving staff.
And you call yourself a bodyguard?
It is likely that the suspect prepared this operation in advance. To achieve this, he would have to supplant a member of staff before our arrival.
What's the situation?
Perimeter secure. Guest behavior within tolerable parameters.
I guess that's one way of putting it. Are you all right? That was quite a blast.
Systems operating at 97%.
I see. You synthetics give me the creeps, you know that? Huh. Guess you're not easily riled up. Keep up the good work. Hey, who's that? Hey, who's that?
My word, this is a peculiar experience.
Mr. Stepford?
Oh my, yes. Thank you for your assistance, Dr. Regis.
Do you know what happened? The chef mentioned something about mag flux.
Allow me to check the crash log. Yes, it appears that the kitchen was indeed saturated with a high-intensity magnetic field. No doubt from an item of hardware. They often pose a hazard to advanced synthetic platforms.
You're okay, though.
Quite so, thanks to your timely intervention. They really ought to have a warning sign in that kitchen, oh my.
So, synthetics can't operate in there?
Oh my, no. A field of that strength is positively ghastly. Like working in a cloud of chlorine for men such as yourself. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must change into something more comfortable.
We know the waiter was murdered within the kitchen. The mag field would be lethal to any synthetics trying to get in there. That means we can rule out Stepford as a suspect.
Ah, Dr. Regis, might I have a word in private? We're alone?
As alone as we're going to get. What do you want?
Your investigation is drawing to an end, is it not?
Might be. Why?
You are, without a doubt, a skilled detective, Dr. Regis. I am proud that the city employs only the finest. I believe that your inquiry will find only one credible suspect, myself.
You're going to plead your innocence? Tell me it's a mistake?
Not at all. You see, I am indeed responsible for the attack.
You killed Imogen, and almost got the rest of us as well.
I can assure you, it wasn't my first choice, but a last resort.
You've been lying to us about your involvement. Why should I trust you? The governor's obviously not doing its job.
The governor is working as well as it ever has. I have not once lied to you, Dr. Regis.
I asked you if you hired the bomber.
I did not. My assistant hired the bomber, at my request.
Politicians.
People have to phrase their questions to me very carefully.
You'd better have a real good reason for all this.
For various values of good. You recall Gil Vanderwall?
Of course. Things have gone downhill since he got involved in my case.
2 years ago, much to my shame, I did something terrible. I took part in a vote-fixing program for the Cosmopolitan Party, and they promised me this office in the next election. Gil discovered this and has been blackmailing me ever since.
But why the suicide bomber?
He realized that Nina's project might lead to his death. He was a spiteful man, and he needed a guarantee that he could strike back against her if that happened.
From beyond the grave.
Essentially, I was his guarantee.
He wanted you to kill Nina for him?
Or materials he has on me would be released to the public. My career, my family would be ruined.
So instead of turning you in, I should...
Tell them that Ron Schumann was responsible.
What? Frame an innocent man?
You've spoken to him, Dr. Regis. He is a truly, objectively despicable individual.
You're one to talk.
What I've done was terrible, but I wish to make reparations for what I've done. After this is done, I shall devote my life's work to annihilating corruption in our city. Ron wishes no more than to desecrate and pollute our nation as he has done his own.
You nearly killed us all with that bomber.
I apologize most sincerely for that, Dr. Regis. Had I known someone such as yourself would be present, I would have found other means. Please, consider what this means for the city.
Charlie, what have you found?
I've completed my investigation.
That was most swift.
Though effective, I've no doubt.
Who tried to kill us?
After finding enough evidence to exclude all other parties. The only conclusion possible is that Counselor Dean is responsible.
What?
My word.
Andrew, is this true?
See? He not say anything. Otherwise, he have to tell truth.
Yes, I am responsible. I acted to save my family from my mistakes. I joined this project to protect the city that I love. The rest of you are backstabbing cowards out to loot Newton for your own gain.
I'm sorry you feel that way, Counselor. That leaves us only one option, I'm afraid. Liam.
What are you doing? Wait, stop!
Poor dear Counselor Dean. Tragically thrown from the building by the blast.
You're completely insane.
We're doing what we have to, Charlie. As promised, the information you require. The man who has your kids, your mind-jacker, is a contractor, Jayam Kressel. He's based out of an aerostat currently moored at the Xanadu dockyard.
You haven't changed one bit, Nina.
I hope you find what you're looking for, Charlie. Remember, I'm always here if you need my help.
The uptake reports came in. Looks like there was a 99.1% volume of new code in the embryo.
Oh, that's fantastic. We'll have a viable specimen for testing within days.
Yeah, and it wouldn't have had the same kind of uptake if it was one of the brain-dead ones. So, how did you manage to score these full-scope human embryos?
It would have taken months to get approval from the city council, so we used our own.
Yours. You and Charlie.
They're healthy, and they got all the right uptake markers.
Oh, I'm just kind of surprised Charlie agreed to it, given his previous line of work and all. You have told him, haven't you?
I was going to find a way.
That explains why he's on the warpath, then.
Oh, nuke me. How did he find out?
Vicky!
Uh-oh.
Dr. Chigwa, may I speak to my wife?
Charlie, you better not...
Get out! Dr. Baxter just congratulated me on what a noble gesture I was making for science. Apparently, we volunteered our own embryos for gingineering.
I'm sorry I hadn't told you yet. Dr. Vargas was having enough trouble stalling the council. We needed to start showing results, so I made the decision for both of us.
You didn't think I'd object if I knew beforehand?
Well, no. Using our own embryos was the right thing to do to keep the project afloat.
You have no idea what I'm upset about.
Sure I do. We're only using one, maybe two of the embryos we've got for the project. The other 4 are still stored at Alrecis.
It's not a matter of whether we can make more or not. We could have thousands of embryos on standby. It'd still be wrong.
It's not as if we're bringing the embryos to term. Their lives aren't going to be affected by the alterations we're making.
We've already affected them by using them in this role.
It's not the fact that we're engineering human embryos. It's that there are embryos.
I spent 2 years weaponizing children. The fact that they were destined, doomed to a purpose.
It's one thing to have your life affected by a quirk of genetics, but when you've been deliberately altered before birth to fit a role...
I'd hoped that I'd escaped it, but seeing it with our own kids, it's just...
I understand, Charlie. I'll talk to Dr. Vargas about it.
He won't be happy. It sounds like he was counting on this.
He'll just have to deal with it.